All right, my man. So, George, 2018, that's going to be your year, huh?
That's the plan.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We have about 30 minutes to talk. This is you and I going over where you are. I know you just started recently. You want to go full-time. You want to hit it hard. You want to make 2018 a good, productive, profitable year for you. Any questions you have, feel free to ask. There's no wrong or right. Whatever you feel will be time we'll spend, that's what we're going to do. This is your time. So I don't have like a set agenda. I would like to take a snapshot where you want to be and see if we can map out a strategy to get you there, answer your questions, and help you get a bunch of clients and a bunch of money.
Okay. Sounds
good.
All
right. Anything in particular that you want to talk about, George?
How to get started with a very small budget.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you get going? You're starting out. You don't have a whole bunch of experience. Don't have a bunch of past clients, and don't have a bunch of money to throw at like Facebook and online lead generation.
No.
Correct? Yeah?
Yes.
Time well spent. Okay, so let's do that. Give me an idea. Here we are at the beginning of the year. Let's say the next 12 months go really well for you. Where would you like to be a year from now? What would make the next 12 months really good for you? What do you want to go for?
I would like to have at least 2 to 4 listings per month, and at least half of them sold. It's not all of them.
Good. That's a good start. So would you like to have 2 or would you like to have 4? At the end of the 12 months, how many listings taken? What would make it good?
Oh, I would say 4. 4 a month.
4 a month. So 48 in the next 12 months you would be happy with? Is my math right?
Yes.
Watch out. My math sucks, dude. So, all right. So 48 listings taken. And let's say you sell most of them. How much money would you like to make? What would make it worth your while?
6 figures would be nice.
Give me a specific number.
I would say 120.
120,000. Okay, perfect. Would you be happy with that? Would that be good?
That would be great.
Yeah?
That would be great, yes.
All right, good. So let me ask you this. Other than not having a big budget, which is normal, most new agents don't, what do you feel is the biggest obstacle right now?
I would say the market I'm in.
Be more specific. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, I'm in New York.
Okay.
So.
Are you in New York City or outskirts?
I'm in the Bronx, Westchester area.
Okay, Bronx, Westchester. Yeah. All right, good.
Yeah.
So what do you feel being in that market is the most challenging aspect of it?
I think it's probably just competition.
Competition. Okay, so other agents going after listings.
Yes.
Can I give you a little insight?
Yes.
That only happens in New York. That never happens anywhere else. You're in a very unique market.
I could imagine.
So competition, you feel. What about the competition do you feel is the biggest problem?
I guess just the amount of people going after the same listings and the same expireds and FSBOs.
Okay.
FSBOs in New York are a little different than any other area.
What do you mean by that?
They're very difficult.
How is that any different?
I wouldn't say, I guess I shouldn't say it's any different, but it's just, I guess, more challenging.
As opposed to somewhere else? No, they're always challenging. They're always pain in the ass. They're always rude at the beginning. They're difficult. Trust me, no matter where you are. There's nothing unique or special about your market. I hate to burst your bubble, which is both good news and bad news. That means, yes, it is challenging. Yes, 80% of the agents don't survive more than 2 years in a business. Yes, people are sometimes difficult to deal with. Yes, real estate is hard. That's just reality. On the other hand, yes, it can be very profitable. Yes, it can be enjoyable. Yes, you can make it regardless of your past or your qualities or your talents or any of that. It's a choice.
So it's just a mindset.
It's 100%, 100% mindset.
Yeah.
Because the cool thing about real estate, and the reason you have a guy like me succeed, is because you don't need any special talents. If you need special talent in real estate, I'm fucked. I'm done.
Right.
I don't have any other than my awesome looks. But you got that too, so we're good. You know what I mean?
That's a good start.
That's a good start. But you understand what I'm saying? You don't need to be a certain height, certain age. You don't need to go to a special school. There are no requirements. There is no age requirement, nothing.
Okay.
You want to play a center for New York Knicks, different story. You got to have some talents and some physical attributes. and lots of tenacity and a whole bunch of other stuff and luck.
Okay.
You know, not in real estate.
Right.
That's the good news. Every skill you need is a teachable skill. With that being said, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's a lot of work, especially at the beginning, because it's like a rocket ship. You know, when you watch like the space shuttle go up or any rocket that goes up, it burns about 80% of its fuel in the first few seconds. And the reason for it is it has to fight gravity and create momentum.
Right.
Same thing in the business. The first few months, that's why so many people drop out. You know, my son used to do Taekwondo. Are you into martial arts? Are you into any sports?
No, not really.
Okay. So what the coach used to tell us, you know how you have 10 belts, just like in karate and kung fu. You start with white, you end up black. He says, you know which belt is the hardest? And then we all thought black belt. That's got to be the hardest, right? You know which one is the hardest? The second one.
Oh, the second one.
The second one, the yellow belt.
Ah.
From the total beginner to once you start realizing what it takes to progress, that's the hardest chunk. It's the same in real estate. The first few months are critical. With that said, we can totally make it happen. Okay. So competition, you'd like to do 48 listings, 120,000. Let's start this. Like you said, it's 100% mind game. Your mind can be your biggest ally and can totally accelerate your success, or it can totally mess you up, which is my case. You know my story. I was homeless. I lived in a car. I struggled. No listings, no money. Other people were making money. Yes, it was a difficult market, and yes, it was competitive. You talk about Southern California. Dude, everybody has 2 real estate licenses plus 1 extra.
Wow.
Everybody's an agent in SoCal. And my friends in Southern California would confirm that. It's very competitive. And yet there were people making money. I wasn't. You know why? It wasn't about a skill. It wasn't about determination. It wasn't about working hard. Mindset. And I know that sounds like the woo-woo, new age. You know, you got to visualize. You got to believe. And I didn't believe in any of that shit. Yet, I was broke. So start with the mindset. So here's what I'm going to give you. Before you start doing all this, going after all that, and we're going to map it out in just a second, decide why in the world are you doing it in the first place. Because that can either boost you, that can be the juice, it can be like fuel in your tank in your car, or it can be like a parachute holding you back, you know, like an anchor. If you have a strong, powerful why where you're very clear, this is what I want to get out of it, here is why it matters to me, here are the people that will benefit from it, and that includes you, first and foremost, your family. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Okay, kids?
Yes.
Tons of motivation, right?
Oh, yeah.
You want to provide for them. That's mine. You know, my family, I have 2 kids. I have a wife and 2 kids. That inspires me more than anything. So use that as a leverage. So what you want to come up with is what will, because it's not about the cash. The cash only provides a lifestyle. It's the lifestyle that's exciting. It's the lifestyle that will be your driver. That'll be your focus. So you're going to come up with some things that 120,000 will provide for you, your family, and people around you. Whether it's charities or your friends or whoever will be impacted by your success, including your clients. So spend some time and really do this diligently. Come up with the lifestyle you want to build for yourself and your family and the service you want to provide for your clients in the world and your community around you. Okay?
Okay.
Really dig deep. And if you want to have a new Rolex and if you want to drive the new Lexus, nothing wrong with that. There's no wrong answer. If it makes your heart beat faster, if you get all excited, that's the right answer.
Okay.
And don't buy into this, materialistic, blah, blah, blah bullshit.
Just write everything down.
Dude, whatever matters to you is the right answer. Fuck everybody else. They may have different goals. They may have different criteria, different judgments. Let them be. This is your life, your business, your income, your decision. Okay? So go by your heart. We very often fall into this trap of what we should want or should have. You know what I mean? Now, you want an Armani, get an Armani. You want a Rolex, get a Rolex, whatever. Bahamas, Bermuda, Bora Bora, whatever. Treat yourself. You're going to work your ass off, so might as well reward yourself. Okay? Turn that off. Put it on an airplane or something. Okay? So that's step 1. That's the most important part. And that's the part most agents skip. They go right into, well, how do I get business? How do I get leads? Cool. It's important. But that's step 2. Do step 1 first. So really spend some time, nice and quiet, write it down. It's going to change, it's going to evolve, but stay with it. That's your juice. That's the most important element that will help you. And you're going to need all the help you need because it's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but that's just the reality. And to get through the days where it sucks, you will need to have a very strong why. Okay? It has to be so strong that not getting it is simply not an option. Like not having, what inspires you? What would be like one or two things that you really are jazzed about?
Being able to buy whatever I want. And
what specifically would you buy? If we are talking 12 months from now, you say, man, last 12 months rocked. Here's what I got.
Let me think. I guess it's something I got to really think about.
Good. Spend some time thinking about it. And it's not that we don't have that. Every single person has that.
Yeah.
But it's just we've been conditioned by reality and life, and it's kind of buried down. You know what I mean? But it's there. Yeah. Trust me, it's there. You're going to find out some cool stuff. Okay? So that's step one. And step two, you're going to come up with like a roadmap. How do I get to my 48 listings? What do I have to do my 48 listings in the next 12 months? Now, you as a new agent, you have to do some extra hustle because you not only have to generate business, but you got to learn the business in the process.
Right.
So that's some extra work you got to do. You got to learn the market. You got to learn the contracts. You got to learn marketing. And there are two types of marketing you got to learn. First part is you marketing. And second part is real estate marketing. You marketing is how to get clients, how to promote yourself. Through prospecting, through marketing, advertising, direct mail, online, offline, all that stuff. That's skill number one. That's, at this point, the most important one, because that will help you get business. So, for example, you put together the expired package. That's the type of marketing. You're going to master that. Mastering communication is the type of marketing. You marketing. You're going to master that. Okay, so you're going to have a list about 5 or 6 things you're going to master when it comes to you marketing. And the second is real estate marketing. Once you start getting listings, helping clients, you got to know how to get those suckers sold. It's not that complicated. There are about 11 or 12 things you got to know how to do to get a listing sold. Number one, price them right. Which means one of the most important skills you've got to develop is you got to be a pricing expert. You got to know your market inside out. That is one of the core, most important, most relevant, most impactful qualities you got to develop. You got to know your market. That means you study the market, you study the MLS, you study the hot sheets, you go preview properties daily, you go to brokers open daily if you have them, and you go preview open houses every weekend.
Okay.
And you should be up and running, I would say 30 to 40 days. Where you know the neighborhoods, you know the boroughs, you know the style of homes, how long they take to sell, price ranges, who buys them, who sells, why they sell, price variations, all that. Okay?
Okay.
So those are some of the skills you got to work on. One of the most important skills under the U is your communication. Especially if you're on a tight budget, where you can't blast Facebook with $1,000 campaigns. How you communicate, how you come across, especially at the beginning of your communication when you, let's say, you prospect or you do an open house or you start a listing presentation. The first impression, super important. Because people will judge you very quickly. They will very quickly decide, we like George, we don't like George. We trust George, we don't trust George. It happens automatically. That's not something people consciously control. It's impossible to do. It's built into our neurobiology. It's our DNA. Just like you walk into a bar, there's a girl you like and girl you don't. You can't control that. Right. It's the same concept. So the way you improve that is through your communication. It's one of the most important skills, is how you communicate. On the phone, in person, even with stuff like text. And there are two, excuse me, two extremes you got to watch for. One extreme is you're too aggressive. Those are usually people who memorize scripts. Typical salesman. You know, the used car salesman approach. That puts people off. Nobody likes salesmen.
Yeah.
We don't want to be sold. We don't want to be pressured. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is the opposite. You're too low status, too needy. You got to avoid that as well, because neediness equals weakness. People don't want to have weak agents. So when we're right in the middle, which is what I call high status agent, HSA, high status agent. You're confident, but you're also pleasant. You're in control, but you're not arrogant. You're cool to talk to. Now, the best way to do that is you practice. That was my secret. Practice over and over daily.
That's the role play?
Yeah, go ahead.
The role play, practice the role play.
Role play, exactly. And you're going to set up the most likely scenarios. Like, what are some of the most likely scenarios? Let's say you're going to work expired listings. That should be your bread and butter, especially at the beginning, fastest, easiest listings. So role play, how do I talk to for sale by owner? How do I talk to expired listing? How do I open the conversation? How do I go about it? How do I come across as high status agent? Not too much, not too little, right in the middle. You practice that. How do I handle basic objections, basic questions? Because most expireds, most prospects in general will tell you no, even if they mean yes.
Oh, sorry. Did I shut it off?
Yeah, please. So you got to know how to get over that no, how to keep them talking, how to engage them, how to connect with them so they start trusting you.
Right.
What do you do if you get a good lead at an open house? How do you engage them? What kind of questions do you ask? What do you do about follow-up? Very important. Once you get a lead and they say, yeah, we'll be ready in about a month. How do you keep in touch? What do you talk about? How do you get appointments? All that is practice. Okay?
Okay.
So you're going to work on these skills. And the real estate, how to get properties sold, how to price them right, how to present them well, get them staged, pictures, all that stuff to get them sold. So that's this. Now you're going to build a roadmap. How do I get there? Now, here is the cool part about the approach I teach. It's pretty simple. Now, simple doesn't mean easy, just simple. You only need to focus on 3 things. 3 moving parts. 3. Leads, appointments, listings. Leads, appointments, listings. That's the whole secret to real estate. Every successful agent, everybody who's making 200, 300, 400, 500,000, million, figure out these 3 things. They know how to predictably generate good quality leads, high probability leads. That's step 1. This is where most agents screw up too. They just don't have a system to generate good leads. They're either kind of all over the place, or they're just hoping for somebody to come to them, or they're trying a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. So that's the first one, leads. Second is good follow-up, because majority of your business will not be the initial contact. In other words, if you knock on the door of for sale by owner, very few will be like, George, I'm glad you're here. Come on in and let's get the paperwork signed. Doesn't work that way. It's going to require a little bit of follow-up, a little bit of trust building, connection building before they're ready. Yeah? So number 1, leads. Number 2, follow-up to get appointments. And number 3, strong listing presentation.
Okay.
Because leads ain't going to pay your bills. It's not like you're going to bring to the bank, hey, I got 200 leads. This will be my mortgage payment this month. Doesn't work that way. So you need to get leads. You need to get appointments. And they need to know, what do I do to convert that appointment into a good listing? Same thing. It's a skill. But it does require systems. Because if you just repeat through practice, you only make it permanent. Doesn't necessarily mean it's perfect. So you got to be careful. If you have a wrong script that you're practicing, you just become good at the wrong script. You know what I mean? Like Tony Robbins says, you can walk east and be all committed, but you'll never see a sunset because you're going in the wrong direction. So you got to practice the right stuff. That's why you have the materials from me. That's why you're practicing stuff that has been tested that works. Okay?
Okay.
So you're going to break it down. In order for you to get 48 listings, you need to know 3 things. 48 listings equals how many appointments? Now, you as a new agent, you probably don't know. Start tracking these things. Everything you do, my activity and the results I'm getting. It's one of the greatest skills you can develop is the discipline of tracking everything you do, because it will accomplish several things. 1, troubleshoot. If something is not working, if you look at the numbers in the path, you can pop the hood and say, okay, here's what's broken. Not enough numbers, poor first impression, you're not talking to the right leads to begin with. There's all kinds of possibilities. But if you track, you can troubleshoot. That's 1. The second thing is you can scale it. So 48 listings will take how many appointments? What's your best guess? If you sit down with 10 motivated sellers right now, 10 people who say, yes, George, we're thinking about selling. How many contracts do you think you're going to walk away with?
If I sit down with 10?
Yeah.
Probably half of that.
Half of them. Okay, good. Yeah. That's a good guess. And that, as a newer agent, is a good place to start. As you progress and as you work on your listing presentation, develop better skills, better communication, you should be hitting 80, 90%. Many of my students do. Not everybody, and I can promise that, but that's your goal. Out of 10, you should have 8 listings. But half, so 48 times 2. Watch my incredible skills here. So that means you got to go on 96 appointments in the next 12 months. If I divide it by 12, that's 8 a month. 8 a month. So about 2 a week.
8 a month. Okay.
That's your target. Okay? The last number you need to know, in order for me to get these appointments, how many leads will it take? Now, since you're just getting started, again, you will not have the exact numbers, but start tracking it. Where do these leads come from? How did I get them? How many converted? Because that way you can build a plan and you can scale. Because next year you say, well, forget this 120,000. Let's double that.
Right.
And because you have 12 months of data, you will know what worked and what you focus on that will get you to multiplying your big business and your income. Okay? So what's your best guess? If you have, how many leads would it take to get an appointment? How many good, high probability quality leads do you think you need to generate to get one appointment? What's your best guess?
To get one, I would say 50 to 100, I guess.
Okay. 50 to 100. That seems awfully high, but I'll go with that. So we need 96 appointments times 50. So you need 4,800 leads. Now, I can tell you right now that even as newer agents, and again, these numbers will be very different for everybody. It's all over the place. But on average, if you work with high probability leads, those are like new expireds, old expireds, for sale by owners, referrals, open house leads. Quality leads, you need about 10.
10, okay, so maybe that's too high.
That might be too high.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to tell you what it is because it really depends. There are a lot of variables in it.
Right.
But I've been at this for 20 years, and newer agents need about 10 leads that they follow up with, that they nurture to get one appointment. Okay?
Leads.
So with that model, you need 960 leads. Now, it may be somewhere in between. I really don't know. Start tracking. But let's say it's 960. So all you got to do is divide the 960 into 12. So that's 80 leads a month. Now you have a target. So if you work on average, what, 24 days?
Yes.
Per month? So that's 3 to 4 leads a day. That's what you got to do. Now, this will be active leads and passive leads. Some you will have communication with, some you will reach, some you will talk to, some you won't. Those are both good leads, active and potential leads. Actual leads are those that you communicate with. Potential are the ones you don't. So you can knock on an expired door, for example. They're not home. You leave a package there. You put them on a follow-up. That becomes a potential lead. Until you have a communication with them, you're going to keep following up, and then you switch. Once they become an actual lead, your call to action changes from let's talk to let's meet. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
So now you have 3 to 4 leads. So now you're breaking down your activity into 2 most important elements. One is to generate these leads daily, and that's your number 1 task. 50% of your time needs to be spent on lead generation. That means you're going to develop maybe four good lead generation funnels. That's what you want to focus on. Start with low-hanging fruit. Start with new and old expireds. Right now around New Year, there's a whole bunch of them. If you don't have a lot of new expireds, go after the old ones, 6 months back, a year back. For sale by owners, fantastic source of leads. I did an interview with FSBOR, which is one of the biggest portals for sale by owners. 70% list with an agent. So that means 10 FSBOs go on the market, 7 end up being good listings. Good opportunity. Referrals, work your sphere. Your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your high school buddies, your spouse friends. All of these are either potential clients or they know somebody. So you're going to nurture those connections. They need to know that you're in real estate, who you are, how to get in touch with you, and that they can trust you. It's the trust part that becomes tricky.
Okay.
Okay, so you start building these funnels. Step 2 is you're going to build a follow-up system to keep in touch with these people. Because no matter how motivated the lead or no matter how good your first impression is, in about 14 days, they forget all about you.
Okay.
If people are busy, if they're distracted, very frequently, a lot sooner than that. I had expired listings where I would call them. We would have a conversation. They would tell me to go jump in the lake. I would call them 2 days later. They had no idea who I was. They just don't remember, you know? So sometimes it works to your advantage. So you're going to need to develop a follow-up. What CRM do you use? What contact management system do you use?
I'm going to invest in Realty Juggler.
Good. That's a good choice. Realty Juggler is good. Lion Desk is very good. There's a whole bunch of them. These 2 I like. I'm not paid by them. I just think they're good, robust systems. But you need one.
Right.
Whichever one you pick is fine. Put all your leads there. Keep in touch. Because the dollars are in your follow-up. That's where the conversion happens. Because at the end, if you really think about it, who gets the listing? It's the agent that makes the best first impression, one that they like, they trust, and one who keeps in touch. That's the whole answer.
Okay.
That's the entire magic. And having a good CRM will help you do that. Now, don't rely just on the automation. Just because they're on drip campaign doesn't mean they magically will show up as a client. You need to play an active role. That means you text them once in a while, you call them once in a while, you even visit them once in a while. You need to nurture the connection, and you need to have the two-way communication. Okay?
Okay.
And then the final part to this will be your listing presentation. And a big chunk of that is the stuff we talked about. You become an expert. You know your market well. That's number one. And number two, you know how to present it well. You do it with authority, but also empathy. You combine both. That means you know what you're talking about. For example, seller doesn't set the price. Most sellers think they do. And they don't. You don't set the price. Who sets the price?
Well, whatever the buyer and the seller agree on.
Buyer sets the price. The seller only agrees or disagrees.
Right.
But it's not the seller who's going to determine the final price. It's the buyer who says, yes, I will pay that much. And then the bank who needs to approve it. But it's the buyer who will decide what the value of that home is. Make sense?
It does.
Seller can accept, reject, and counter, but buyer determines the price. So you, as an authority, as a high-status agent, as an expert, need to know how to communicate it well, without insulting or alienating the seller, without pissing them off, but still being the authority. Because you don't be like the doctor who says, well, you got a broken leg, but let's start with aspirin. You don't want to do that, you know?
Right.
You want to be honest and open with them, and they expect you to. Okay? So you have these three things in place. You know how to get leads, you know how to get appointments with those leads, you know how to get listings, you're in business.
Okay.
Those are the most critical parts.
That makes sense.
The challenge for you will be to stay focused on those three things, because there'll be 1,000 other things that will demand your attention and distract you and pull you into all these directions. Your job is to stay very diligent and very disciplined, focus on those three. Getting leads, getting appointments, getting listings. So that's got to be your mantra.
Leads, appointments, listings.
That's it. Leads, appointments, listings. L-A-L. That's it.
Okay.
Now, one thing that worked for me, that helped me stay on track, is I start planning my days in a detailed blocks of time. And it's both challenging to plan and challenging to stick with it, but it's the only way for you to stay focused and stay organized. So you're going to have one of those calendars. It can be a paper calendar. It can be online, Google, doesn't matter. We use Google, and we have it connected to all our devices. It's all interconnected. But the rule we have is if it's not on a calendar, it ain't going to get done.
Okay, that's good.
Okay? So everything goes on your calendar. This will also remove that sense of overwhelm. Like, oh, fuck, I have 100 things to do. Right? You've been there.
Yeah. That's sort of how I feel now.
Oh, absolutely. And it's true, because it does require a lot. But if you have 50% of your time goes for prospecting and lead gen, and let's say 20% goes for education and practice, and 20% goes for admin work, and then 10% for everything else, that's a good productive day.
Okay.
And then you plan in detail. How am I going to lead generate? How am I going to educate myself? Study the market, go preview properties. What about my admin time? And what about 10% of the rest? You have to become very diligent about your time. It is the most important asset you have.
Right, so I've got to get
strongly
organized, yeah.
Yes, to spend 60 minutes a day on Facebook just fucking around and checking bullshit, or watching the Real Housewives of whatever it is. I don't even watch it. But you know what I'm saying? It's a luxury. It's a huge luxury that right now you don't have. There will be time where you will. If you do this right, it's going to take some time to build that momentum, get your business going. Then you can pull back if you want to. But right now, it's hustle time. It's grind time. And it's going to take some while to build like that rocket we talked about, to get that momentum going. Okay? Keep these ratios. Half of your time, lead generate. That means getting new leads and follow them up those I have.
Okay.
Okay? Stay organized. Plan your day. Now, the last thing I'm going to give you is get some help. As you're getting this going, there'll be a lot to do, especially once you start getting some listings. You got a few under the contract. One of your sellers becomes a buyer, and there are all these things you got to juggle. It's so easy to get bogged down. And many, many agents crash and burn because they try to do all themselves because they think, I'm going to get an assistant once I make the money, which is backwards. You're going to make the money once you have an assistant, because having an assistant, having somebody help, and this can be your spouse. This can be, I have my kids help me out in my office sometimes. Be resourceful. Doesn't mean you need to pay $50,000 a year for a college-educated assistant or somebody who's licensed. But you need somebody to come in for maybe 2 hours a day where you can go, okay, make copies of this, go deliver this, drop off this lockbox, get this done for me. So you can focus on where the money is. That's right here.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Get somebody to help you. Be resourceful to people. One of my best assistants, she was 69 when she came to work for me.
Wow.
And it wasn't even on the money. I mean, yeah, of course I paid her, but the money was not the main driver for her. She just wanted to feel useful. She didn't want to sit at home on the couch all day.
Right.
And she turned out great. She stayed with me for 4 years, was a phenomenal. She became a very successful agent later.
Oh, that's great.
So look around. There are people around who will love to have a little opportunity to do something useful, or maybe even explore real estate. You don't need an agent. You don't want somebody who has an ambition to become an agent. You want somebody who is diligent, who is nice, who is trustworthy, who is pleasant.
Okay.
Okay? But get help, because you will see that the admin can totally kill your business. It can drown you. That's why agents have such a yo-yo. They make a lot of money, then they go broke. A lot of money, broke.
They lose focus on what's important.
You know why? Because when things get really busy, you know what first goes? What's the first chunk that they drop? Right here. The lead generation. Yeah. And I understand they want to provide good customer service. They want to make sure the deal's closed so they get paid. All that makes sense. But from a business perspective, it's a terrible way to do that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So get some help, George. All right. Questions, my good man?
I definitely will. I've been watching a lot of the videos on Listing University, and it's building my confidence.
Good.
And it's giving me the energy to pick up the phone and call these people.
Yeah.
So, and I've gotten a lot of information from the Facebook group.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Rockstars. Yeah.
So I just need to get this going, and I want to implement for myself like 15-20 minutes of visualization practice every day.
Excellent.
Because that's going to help my mindset a lot.
Absolutely, yes. That's a really good idea. Yes. Get in the right mindset. I would not start a coaching session or a call or anything without setting the right frame.
Right.
Without being in the right place, having the right energy, having the right expectations. That's a great idea. Do that.
Yeah. So.
And then just do it. I mean,
yeah.
It's not going to be perfect at first. Dude, anything I touch at first, whether it's physical activity, what sports do you play? What are you into?
I like basketball.
Basketball. All right.
Yeah.
Never played basketball. I mean, I kind of dribbled and shot, but like games or stuff.
Yeah.
So what are my chances of coming on a basketball court one-on-one with you and crushing you in the game?
Very slim.
You're being kind. Big fat zero. You know what I mean? I would probably hurt myself doing that. Why? Because I don't have a skill. Now, in my case, it would take time and practice and probably hiring a coach and working on my dribble and working on my free throws and doing all that before I can have a decent game.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. It's going to take some time. But it doesn't mean I'm going to sit on the sideline and just watch somebody. I'm going to be out there trying it. Same thing with this. Just do your best. It's going to get better, but it's going to be a process. So to expect I'm going to pick up the phone and get all these appointments right away. If you do, awesome, more power to you. But if you don't, you're not doing anything wrong. It's a process. That'd be like me being on the court and expecting to shoot free throws and get 10 out of 10. That's never going to happen. That doesn't happen to pro players.
Right, it's true.
Right? It's going to take a little practice, a little skill, a little guidance. Same thing here. Give yourselves a chance. Practice a little. Get better. But that doesn't mean you're not going to try. You're going to keep trying, dude. Yeah. That's one way to get really good is get a whole bunch of FSBOs on the phone. Here's the beautiful thing about working high probability leads. Even if you totally screw up royally And you will, trust me. Not because you're bad or wrong, but because that's just part of the growth, part of the process. Just like I would miss a bunch of shots. Even if you screw up today with a for sale by owner, even if they say, jump in a lake, take a hike, don't want anything to do with you, there'll be another one tomorrow. And another one after that. And another one after that. There will always be more.
Yeah.
What's going to change is you. People won't change. Suddenly you're going to realize, damn, people are all of a sudden nice. No, they're not. They're the same people. You're going to get better, but it's going to take some time and some progression. Just like with sports, just like with anything else. So when an agent sets a goal so high that they want to hit it out of the gate right at the beginning, I'm like, that's tough to pull off. I don't know many people who can. And if you can't, just work your way up to it. Because think about my concept I teach, the 1%. Can you get 1% better at talking to leads, let's say expireds, a day?
Of course.
Just 1%. Is that possible? Is that practically doable? 1% a day.
It
now
is.
Imagine where you can be 90 days from now, 100 days from now. 100% better.
Right.
But it's going to take daily working on it, getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little better. Even if you don't see actual progress right away. And that's tricky. Even if you're not getting appointments and listings right away, you're still getting better, but you're not at that threshold where people respond to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a matter of trust and patience and faith. It's going to happen. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah. It's sowing seeds right now.
Yeah.
That's what I remind myself, that this is not going to happen overnight, and it's, just keep sowing the seed, and eventually you get a harvest.
That's exactly right. And you're going to get better. Now, yeah. Jim Rohn, one of my mentors, I love the guy. He uses the analogy of sowing the seeds. Some will end up on the rocks. Nothing will turn out.
Yeah.
Some of them will be taken by the birds. You're going to lose those. Some of them will be in a shitty soil, and they'll be okay, but not much. But some will be in a very fertile soil that you can turn into something.
It's true.
What you got to do is do your best. Just sowing, just working on it. Keep going. Yeah.
Thank you so much, BORINO.
No worries, George. Are we good? Or do you have any more questions for me?
We're good. We're good. Right. I got what I need.
Keep me posted. Work it diligently. Just trust yourself. You got this. Other people figured this out. Everybody was once as new as you are. Everybody started at 0 at one point. If they could figure out, why not you? I mean, think about it this way.
Of course.
Czechoslovakia figured out, trust me, you can too. It's not a rocket science. It really isn't. Like you said at the beginning, it's a mind game first and foremost.
Right.
Then it's just a matter of applying the same steps on a regular basis to get better and better and better. Yeah? Come do the path with me. We're going to start the path on January 29th. That may be a good experience for you, because I will give you a lot of guidance, a lot of support, a lot of answers. I'll be available. It's an ongoing coaching program I'm launching, and you will get all my programs with it. Everything will be there for you.
Okay.
All right? So do check it out.
Okay. Thanks again.
All right, good sir. Thank you. I will send you the audio of this. You will get the recording. So this way, if you want to listen to it again, you can.
Great.
With your permission, I would like to share this with my students. I think we covered a lot of good stuff. And I'm here. So if you have questions, just fire off an email. Let me know.
Okay, great. Thanks again.
All right, George. Good talking with you, man.
Likewise.
Take care. Bye-bye.